good thing I'm I'm not a younger man. Good thing I've aged so well, like fine wine. Because I really hate people, man. People are dicks. So I'm doing what I do, and this is a person that I've known now for many years. It's funny too, because he's a Marine, so you'd think as a Marine he would have, a real stand-up sort of character. He'd be a man of his word. So, last night, I decided I want to make some money. So I get a bunch of Derek Jeter cards together. And I know he's a Derek Jeter collector, so I reach out, hey, you want this stuff? Blah, blah, blah. And knowing he's a spoiled brat anyway, I always throw extra shit in there, extra cards that, usually just shit I have laying around that I just throw in there, whatever. Never anything special, but he likes it. He likes to fill up he's a set collector. So he wants every card from certain sets, blah, blah, blah. So it started, this has been years and years and years now that him and I, see him generally once a month when he gets his disability check that he likes to spend on cards. And there's always something. Like he's difficult. And if I didn't make the money I make off of him, I would have ended this a long time ago. We're not friends. And, well, he plays that card like we are, but we're not at the end of the day. And so, last night I worked out the X amount of dollars. And when there's always the threat option that he's going to just cancel at the last minute, that's what he does. And so I text him, alright, I'm leaving. Okay. He says, alright, cool, see you soon. So, as you saw, I was doing my video, and about a half hour in, he says, oh, hey, my girl is stopping by. Don't come by yet. And like, it's literally, the interaction could take 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, if that's what we wanted to do. Like, normally we hang out and maybe burn one or two, but if you gotta go, then whatever. But I'm like, what are you talking about, man? I'm halfway here, about 40 minutes out. He says, well, don't stop by until I tell you it's all clear. And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, you do realize this isn't a down the road. Like, this is just what it is. And he said, well, if you come by, I'll never speak to you again. Don't say anything. So I get to his trailer park, and I let him know, all right, I'm here. This was at about 10 o'clock. All right, I'm here. car. He doesn't say anything. Because I told him, look, I'm not turning around. I've already drove in halfway here. I'm not. That's what he says. Well, if you come by it. So it's too much money for me to just be like, fuck you. So for the last hour, I've been sitting in this trailer park, driving around, sitting there, driving around, whatever. 10:30 says she'll be leaving in 10 minutes. 10:42 or something like that, he says. She'll be leaving at 11. 10:57, he's like, okay, come by. So I come by and I'm pissed. I've been sitting here for an hour. I mean, it's just, again, this guy's a Marine. Like, this guy is old. But the first thing he'll tell you is that he's a Marine, and, implying that he's that sort of character. And to think, like you're gonna do that to somebody else. It's Christmas time and shit. Like, I don't have other things to be doing. I'm just supposed to sit here and wait. So I walk in and I'm just like, give him his stuff, and I'm like, all right. And he's looking and he's like, look at money, because he always likes to play these dumb games with haggling and stuff. And he gives me the money and it's $5 short. He's like, there you go. And I'm like, all right, well, where's the other $5? And he's like, well, I don't have $5. Do you have change? I'm like, why would I have change? We worked this out last night. We were supposed to have this amount of money. Well, he checks and he's got a 20. I said, all right, I'll be back. Just give me the 20. No. I said, dude, what are you talking about? Like, you just had me waiting for an hour, and now you're trying to short me $5. Well, X amount of money is a lot of money. I said, yeah, but it's not what we agreed on. Oh, it's a lot. And he's like got this goofy smile on and shit. Like this is all fun. And I just looked at him and I'm like, dude, you're so rude. And I just walked out. I mean, that's, I'm not I know me years ago would have been in a huge argument. That would have been a big fucking deal. But also, like, I realized, like, that's it. That'll be the last time I deal with that fucker for either a long time or ever. Because, just why be such an asshole? Why be an unnecessary asshole? Over some pussy, you can't just come to the door and be like, here you go. Like, really? It's fucking shocking to me, man. I don't know, I never get people like that. Just be a good person. It doesn't matter what it is, just be a good person. And like I say, especially if you walk around, I'm a Marine, be that. Don't be a douchebag. I've already driven. I want the money, so you're gonna take advantage of that. I didn't ask you for anything. Just strange, man. And to me, you have to like, it's not just look at it for what we have to look at. Like, who are we as society that we do shit like that? How did we get to that point? so many of us are just so low-level selfish like that. Like I could never sell drugs, right? If I ever sold drugs, I always give away the profit, because I want to hook you up. If you were going to buy an eighth from me, I wanted you to get, 375, 4 from it. I wanted you to feel like, this is the guy I want to get it from. Like it was stupid. I'm just not good like that. I'm not good at ripping people off. And the reality is, like, I'm making dollars on the penny here at all times. But still, it's just, some people's character is just strange. You can't, like, if you're showing me that you're not a person that you can be trusted. And that's just weird. That's, I just wonder how people how people exist in that mind frame, in that mindset. How is that, like, acceptable to you? Other people's shit doesn't matter. It's all about you. It's weird. That's why you don't see a bunch of normal conversations on my shit. Because what am I going to sit here and talk about me for? Why would you give a shit about me? It's not about me. It's about the bigger picture. If you want to hear somebody talk about themselves, there's plenty of people out there doing that shit. Way more people doing that than anything else. I don't want to talk about me. I don't want to talk about the tentacles. I want to talk about the head of the monster. Let's cut off the head of the monster. Then we can have all the other conversations we need to. But what my friends and wife were, my friend and wife were alluding to last night, well, my wife and her friend were alluding to last night, is, how do we override the dysfunction that prevents us from seeing? Everything I talk about, like, there's nothing. Like, as somebody who's been in the truther game for a long time, you often hear people talk about things that you probably either don't know, you maybe have heard of it a little bit or whatever, but, like, you're not familiar with it, and it's foreign, and even if you were to go look it up, it would be hard to decipher, or different language or whatever, And that's not what I'm trying to do. Like, I want us to be able to talk about the most surface level bullshit that everybody can sort of see and understand and work backwards. Because, like I say, it's a dysfunctional society that allows, everything to happen. And if we can figure out why we're so okay with allowing it to happen, then we might be able to do something about it. Because it's not like there's some secret that everybody doesn't know, and if we just expose this secret, then everything gets better. It's not even a secret that God doesn't exist. I know a lot of people claim they believe it and live their lives in this way to impress the other people around them. I'm more godly than you are. But it's 2024. You know that's bullshit. I love whenever I get a female that talks to me about religion, talks to me about, especially about Christianity and shit. I'm a Christian and I think that. Well, if you're a Christian, then you shouldn't be talking to me. 1 Timothy 2:11 says, let a woman be silent. I permit no woman to teach or have authority over a man. They are to keep silent, something like that. That's New Testament shit. That's not even Old Testament crazy shit. You clearly don't believe in your bullshit if you're talking to me about it. And I guarantee none of you are going to be like, no, I'm okay with shutting my mouth. You're a man and you have authority over me. You're not going to say that shit. But that's the beauty and the distraction, is that it's so far reaching, and it's so it's so ingrained that you just override all those things in order to maintain your belief. No, you're not a good Christian. None of you are good Christians. All of you meat eaters out there, you must not like your Bible very much. No, that's not what it is. 1 Timothy 2:11 exactly is. I'm not going to read it right now. Can't read it right now. It's not in the churches. It's bigger than that. And even still, what is a church? A church is a house of learning. I can say my car is the church, and we are having lessons. We are engaging in religious discussion. I mean, again, I don't believe it. I think it's stupid, but you believe it, and that's just some of the shit you believe. That's just insane. Why would anybody want to believe in such patriarchal, disrespectful, ugly nonsense? You disrespect yourself. Men, women, all of you goyim in general, you disrespect yourself. I never get over the fact that Christians believe a different religion. The religion that's the bad guys, the cult that's the bad guys in the Bible. They're the ones that killed the Jesus. It's not Satan. Who's Satan? It's the cult. And you believe those are your God's chosen people. They killed his only son, and they're his chosen people. What? Why would you believe such utter insanity? The reality is, most of you believe it because you barely know it. You barely remember the brainwashing you were forced into as a child, and you immediately, when the conversation is engaged, you feel stupid. You're like, I know this isn't real, but I have to believe it because of my family, because there's that little child inside me that still gets scared because I believe in the devil, and there are all these little psychological like landmines in your head that go off with this conversation, and it just keeps you in this amazingly stupid state. Ask your average Christian, why do they believe in what they believe? Why? What makes you believe it? And you would think that would give them joy. That would make them happy and excited to express their belief and their love and their reason, and why wouldn't it? I know believing that I am telling the truth inspires me to tell the truth. The more research I do, the smarter I make myself. The more I sharpen the weapon, the more I want to use it. And I don't understand why you wouldn't be that way. You should be proud of what you believe. You should be, it should fill you, pump your chest up when oh, I am a this, I am a that, I believe this way. That should make you feel good. It definitely shouldn't embarrass you, and it shouldn't put you in a position like you're an abused spouse and you're making excuses. Oh, well, no, okay. It's not always like that. You just had a bad night. You can't blame. You can't. It's like, instead of saying you can't blame him for just the one time, you gotta take all of his actions as a whole. He's a good man. It's the same thing. You can't blame all that pedo stuff on the whole church. It's just a whole bunch of them that's doing it. That's not the whole church. Like, it's all just mind fuck. And it's for a reason, and it's obvious. It doesn't require you being a conspiracy theorist. It doesn't require you subscribing to nonsense one way or another. It's all really simple. And it's all really obvious. It really sucks to be like to just have figured it out at this state, or at least figured out what I have to be where I'm at. What an idiot. Because so many of the really old people are gone. If I had the opportunity to sit and talk to my grandfather, my great-grandfather, nowadays, oh my God, I would love it. I would love to pick his brain and ask him questions about shit. But, I didn't know that. And that's the cool part about the kids today. Is like my kids, they're going to look at things differently. But it's too late because those people are gone. So all those first-hand accounts are gone. Find me somebody whose family member worked on the Brooklyn Bridge. Find me somebody whose family member worked on any number of buildings in whatever downtown you're talking about. They just don't exist. You think, like, wait a minute, like, some of these buildings are said to be early 1900s. there should be some sort of connection or whatever, and there's not. I mean, it's weird because it's like as much as you might not want to believe in Tartaria or a reset or whatever, if you start looking into it, you won't be able to help it. It just becomes more and more obvious. When it comes to religion in the Bible, every time I read a different Bible passage, or somebody's like, oh yeah, we'll try reading this or whatever, every conversation I have with a Christian, I find myself further and further away from Christianity. Like, the only thing impressive to me is how stupid they are. And it's always shocking. It's always impressive. It's always, I mean, it's almost like it's unexpected. You know, you go into it thinking, okay, maybe this person will say something, and then they say something and you're shocked. Like, you're like, Jesus, how? I thought I'd heard it all, and then here you go, knocking it out the park again. But it's never anything like sick or you know, never anything that like makes sense. It's I mean, again, ask anybody to explain the miracle. You know, oh, I've seen a miracle before, and oh, really, what was it? I had this one dumbass one time come on and tell me. Yeah. His name was Robin Leach. He robbed and leached off of people. Robin Leach. He was like touted in the troll circle as like the one that like knew the religious stuff better than everybody else did. And he supposedly had done all this extra studies. And he really looked into it. So if you wanted to talk religion, he was the guy to talk to. So immediately, of course, I'm like, well, shit, let's talk about it. And he would get out of the conversation by being like, well, have you know, I'd ask him to explain something, and he'd say, well, have you read this other book? And I'd be like, well, no, of course I haven't. He'd say, well, you can't really understand this part of the Bible unless you read this book. And blah, blah. And it's like, that's dumb as hell. Why would the Bible, the book of books, be that fucking convoluted and you know, not make, like, why would it be so difficult? It's the Bible. It's the thing that's supposed to be, you know, the way. Why would I need the way to be interpreted for me? Because it's so fucking difficult. And, you know, that's the stuff that people like him are never gonna acknowledge or want to talk about. And it's understandable, but he was saying that he had experienced a miracle. He had experienced lots of miracles in his life. And as always, anytime somebody tells me they've experienced lots of miracles, I always tell them to just give me one. Assuming that they're going to give me the biggest and best miracle, because this is their free shot. All right, go ahead. Like, if somebody gives you the free shot, you lay them out, right? So he says, you know, he avoids it. Finally, I get it. And he's like, all right, well, I was with this girl, and she was really, like, being shitty to me. So I was going to leave. And she threatened that she was going to kill herself if I left her. And she says, he says, I mean, she's gonna kill herself, and so I prayed, and God gave me the strength uh, to stay with her and basically keep her alive. And I was like, no, seriously, give me a better miracle than that. Like, you're kidding, right? That's a joke. And I said, how is that a miracle? Like, did you have another place to go? No. Did you have like somebody that was gonna come help you, like grab all your shit you know and go somewhere? Like, what do you mean? Like, you were just gonna what? Just go live out in the woods or something? Well, I don't know, but I stayed, and I said, are you still with her? Well, no. So you guys broke up. Is she still alive? Yeah. She didn't try to kill herself when you guys broke up the next time? No. It's like what the bar is so low for miracles because you inherently know how much bullshit it is that you're just desperately looking for anything that you can try to sort of justify giving money to this bullshit organization, feeling bad about everything you do, because of it. Like, it's all really obvious again, and it's frustrating that like me, I feel like I have more respect for the concept of a miracle than the average Christian. I don't think that your bullshit life, you getting the job, you kicking the field goal, you know whatever, that's a miracle. Maybe if your loved one is diagnosed with, they're on death's door, there's nothing we can do, blah blah blah, and then they suddenly get better, okay, you know what, you might have some miracle shit going on there, I guess, maybe. But like, the things that people will arrogantly claim are miracles, it's just a joke most of the time. God, I hate driving. Or riding in a car. Good thing I'm not driving, but riding in a car is tough. Driving would be so much more tough. God damn. I hate seeing people begging for money. Why do we live in a society? It's 22 degrees right now, and an old man is standing out there holding a sign. We barely get by. I have 2 kids, blah, blah, blah. Like, I have my reasons. I'm not, the car next to me is an Escalade. I'm definitely not in an Escalade. I wish I could do more. I'm surprised by it because you hear about famous people going broke all the time because they had this huge group of people that they would help. But really, it was just hanger-ons. They weren't like creating businesses and shit. But I just look around at all this, like, especially when it comes to this truther stuff. Faith is not a good plan to achieve results. 100%. But you know, it's a good way to distract the goyim. I mean, like I said, my whole goal is planting seeds. If at this point from here on out, if you're watching the news or you're talking to somebody or you hear about the world working in a way that might be different one thing or another, if you don't hear my voice, or if you do hear my voice saying, oh, distract the goyim, then I'm doing my part. Everything's about distracting us. It's about keeping us submissive, keeping the cogs in the wheel turning. You don't understand how faith could hinder achieving results? Well, instead of being out achieving results, you're in your house praying, having faith that God's going to do it for you. You want to know what a great segment, right? Or a great segue. So, the city I live in just decides one year that they're going to redo all the sidewalks. They're going to have somebody go walk up and down the sidewalks, and everyone that they put a little X or a check mark on, each square is something that needs to be replaced. And they're going to do it. The city's going to do it. They're going to use the construction company that they want to do. You're not allowed to do it. They have to do it. And they're going to charge you $250 per square. Now, where I live is definitely blue collar, like lower middle class. There's some areas where there's areas within a mile of my house where you wouldn't believe the size of the fucking houses. It's really kind of strange. But still, you know, this isn't an area of rich people. And let's just say you happen to be somebody that has a house on a corner and they decide to go crazy. I mean, you could end up with 10 squares. That's a lot of fucking money. You didn't plan on spending. And they say, oh, well, we'll just tack it on to your taxes at the end of the year. And so you have someone like my neighbor at the time, Ginger. Ginger was a devout Christian. She was divorced. She had a lot of issues. And again, she was divorced, so she can kiss heaven goodbye. But she was also, unfortunately, a survivor. She was a rape survivor. She was raped as a child multiple times it was either a family member, or it might even have been a church. I think it might have been a church member, like a pastor or something like that, priest. And she would believe this bullshit. And I just, and she would always sit in judgment. Like she judged us and our lifestyle and how Ange and I got along and whatever. She just always had something to say. But she would always do it from that church position, like she was higher than thou. And it would always, like, it would just be so irritating because, again, my wife would sort of have this, like, she means well, and I'd feel like she's sitting in judgment of us. She doesn't believe we do good enough in life, so she's going to pray for us and blah, blah, blah. And every time we'd be sitting out front and she'd come over and, okay, well, how about this? She would say something and it would be like, Ange would expect me to be quiet. And I'd be like, listen, she's a 60-year-old woman. She knows what she's getting into. She doesn't come over here accidentally saying anything. She's coming over here to try to make, she wants me to say what I say. She knows I'm going to say what I say. So the fact that she engages, like, is that's a choice she's making. And it would be rude of me to not engage her. She wants me to, so I'm going to oblige her. But when it came to Ginger having like 4 of her squares marked, Ginger on a fixed income, unlike the lowest of the low fixed income, disability, like just barely getting by Ginger, is now hit with this $1,000 bill. Her only solution is to go pray about it. And instead of her being inspired to, start a neighbor, pool the neighbors together and let's go down to City Hall and let's tell them we refuse. This is not our property. This is public property. This is up to you to, yes, we are to maintain the snow to ensure public safety, but this isn't ours to maintain. We don't, this isn't part of our property. And this is what we pay taxes for. We pay taxes for you guys to do this shit. Don't you put this on us. This is like how they always do the wounded warrior bullshit. I hate that more than most things. How dare you tell me it's my responsibility to help these people that you crippled for your own personal bullshit agenda. So look at this. Look at that cloud up there. The oil slick cloud. You see that shit? The one right below the sun? With the pink and it looks like an oil slick. It looks like when water, or when it rains and the oil is on the top of the water in the sunlight. See that shit? That's just normal. That's just what clouds do. Although you're never going to see a painting of something like that. You'll never see, look it to the side of it. You see that one too? You'll never see anything like that in any sort of painting from prior to 19 whatever. All those old artists, they would see shit like this all the time because that's normal cloud stuff. And they're never been inspired to paint it. Right? Just normal cloud stuff. Thanks, my driver, for moving your head. My driver likes to move her head. It looks like a fucking cartoon. What is going on here? That anybody would look up at that and think that's fucking normal. What is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you thinking that's normal? Like, how much Kool-Aid have you drinking? That's too close. Look at that shit. What are we looking at there? That shit is just spreading out like it's just multiplying. And look at that weird line across the bottom. What the fuck is that? What's happening right now? Hey, is this Project Bluebeam coming to fruition? Is that an arm just growing right there? Do you see this shit? Do you see this shit? This is fucking wild. What is going on? Why is it spreading out like that? That is some crazy shit happening right now. Got those cartoon colors on the bottom. You guys seen this before? This is just normal Sunday clouds for you? Is this normal shit? It's not something I typically talk about, is it? When was the last time you saw me do this? And then whatever this is now moving off to the side. Yet that one cloud is still cartoon colors, looks like The Simpsons. I'm shocked. That is fucking weird looking. Like, for any of you that think that's just normal, I'd love to know what you think, why you think that way. What are you thinking? That is some crazy shit. Oh well, that's just ice crystals. That's just ice crystals, guys. That's all that is. Just ice crystals. Ooh, where's my face too big? Just ice crystals. Don't ask questions, stupid Goyim. You just do what you're told. You believe what you're told. Buy what you're told. Obey. Consume. Obey. Consume. Obey. Okay? Don't be gay. Wow, that is weird. Oh, ouch. Excuse me. What do you guys think? I don't even remember what I was talking about before that shit just happened. That was weird. Oh, the sun's so bright. I hate this white sun that you can't look at. I remember being a kid and looking at the sun, playing the game to see how long you could do it. But all that kind of shit is, again, that's just shit that I don't waste a lot of time talking about. You know, we can't know. That's like my, it's where you draw lines. At the end of the day, can you even know the answer to whatever question you're looking for? Or is it solely that you have to rely on a system that you know lies to you about everything already? That's the That's something that's hard to override. You have to retrain your brain to think a different way. You know, that Neil deGrasse Tyson was on Joe Rogan, and he said one of the most powerful things I've ever heard somebody say, and I hate that fucking guy. But Joe was asking him how he handles people that come up to him about the earth shape. And he said he doesn't have those arguments with people. He says that what he does is he teaches people how to think. Because when you teach people how to think, then what they think is secondary. You control how people think, what they think is easy. So if you've controlled people to believe that we live on a round ball flying through space, well, then they're already duped. They're already like, all right, I believe this narrative, this crazy narrative that I can't prove. So what? In dinosaurs and extinction periods and rocks falling from the sky, and they control how you think. If they control, I always ask people this: point to your immune system. What is it? What's your immune system? What organ is your immune system? And you don't know, because it's not a thing. It's not an immune system. But as long as you believe that there are little invisible germs, the Germans. Isn't it interesting that the Germans don't refer to themselves as Germans? That they live in Deutschland. Why did it become Germany? Why did the big bads, because Germany is the big bad in both world wars, and when you look at history, like damn near everyone who did everything is like a German engineer or spent time in Germany, this or like, Germany is such a huge part of our history. But why are they Germany? Have you ever been asked that? It's not like it's a translation thing. Oh, Deutschland translates to Germany. Is that how that works? If you're watching, like, share, and sub. Don't forget to do that shit. Don't be a weirdo. Do it. But it just so happens that the characters that were given to be the physical representation of the big bad, the Germans, the germs, it's also the same name that we give the invisible creatures that invade our body. Like, people don't understand how incredibly intelligent you have to believe germs are. You don't even think about it, but the credit that you give germs, the ability, the capability that you give germs, it's just astonishing. Again, it's like how, to me, I hate saying it, I hate it. But, the Bible actually makes more sense than the Big Bang Theory does. And the Bible makes no sense at all. That's how fucked up this is. When you start believing in invisible germs, when you just think about what you believe, right? Every single one of you, there's however many people here that should be liking and sharing and subbing, but every single one of you, I can tell you how you think. Every single one of you believes that one day John Public is walking down the street when suddenly flu virus manifests inside this person. They become patient zero. Flu virus, COVID, whatever, manifests inside this person. They become patient zero. And now, everywhere they go, as they're coughing and whatever, they're spreading COVID flu sauce all over the place. Now, we've all been intelligently briefed on the idea that if you cough here, it's totally safe. I'm totally safe if I cough into my elbow. If I cough here, oh my God, I am a fucking walking biohazard. Everybody look out. Here it's safe. Here everybody's dead. Here it's my family is okay and your family is okay. Here I am a murderer killing everybody with my flu sauce. And so now you have intelligent flu sauce all over your hands. It's invisible, of course. It's an invisible, self-replicating flu sauce. And if you go wash your hands, obviously you wash the flu sauce off. But if you don't wash your hands, oh Lord, Lord, Lord. As you walk around and you touch things, your hand touches a doorknob, you grab a pen to write something out. Your hand just brushes against the wall as you're walking. You leave self-replicating flu sauce, invisible, all over said pen, all over said door handle, whatever it may be. Now, this is the craziest part. Like I say, flu sauce is super intelligent. Flu sauce goes from living in your 98-degree body to sitting on a tabletop at a hospital or you go. Flu season isn't when the weather matches our insides, when it's warm outside. No, flu season is when it's cold. So, flu sauce leaves your 98-degree body and survive out in 40, 50-degree weather, 30, however cold. I don't know. Each flu sauce is a little bit different. And it leaves your body and it sets up a little base camp where it just waits and waits and waits. And then when it sees the next victim coming, it readies itself. And as that person touches the door handle, touches the pen, touches the wall, the self-replicating flu sauce gets on their hand, gets on their fingers, and does. Shut up, Jessica. Go in the house. You go in the house, Jessica. Nobody likes you, Jessica. It gets on your hands, and now it's up to you. Hey buddy, if you go wash your hand, God damn it, you guys don't see this? Get up, dog. Yeah.
I have this. The diamond circular.
Cool. That's the best one. Now the flu sauce is on your hands, and now you're the new biohazard, walking around potentially spreading self-replicating flu sauce on everything you touch. Can you hold this for a second and talk about your thoughts on flu sauce?
On flu sauce?
On the flu sauce.
On the flu sauce. I don't know. We have differing opinions on germs and viruses and bacteria, and I have a heftier science background and biology and chemistry, and so I do come to that subject from a different perspective than he does. And I understand that the stuff that I was taught was all, stuff that we're supposed to be conditioned by. But I feel like I have a decent understanding of it, and I do feel, it's not quite how he describes it to, make it as comical as possible. But um, yes, I think germs can live on surfaces. That all germs have a different shelf life, but they can be transferred from one surface to your hand and then wipe your nose. And, you know, um, I don't think there's legs and swords and, that shit involved, of course. But, um, like, even just going out in the cold, I don't think the act of going out into the cold without proper attire is what gets you sick. I think that act forces your body to work so hard at warming itself and protecting the organs that the protective barrier um, can get breached easier. It compromises that part of your body. It's but again, it's something he's gonna laugh at, and it's a matter of opinion. So,
But the thing is,
whatever.
you know I'm right. That's why.
No, I don't know you're right. I disagree with you, and I just
makes it so difficult
don't
to talk about.
think that it should be something argued about.
What?
I don't agree with you
About what?
about the transfer of germs. I think germs can be transferred. I think that.
So you believe in the invisible germs, Mom? I mean, everybody does. I'm not surprised by that. That's what I'm saying. Like, so patient zero, then, right? He's transferred it to everybody, the next person. And if the next person goes and they wash their hands, they can wash the flu sauce off their hands and whatever. But if they happen to touch their face, pick their nose, scratch their ear, this super intelligent flu sauce knows to run off of their hands, go up in their nose, and get them sick, in their mouth, in their nose, and get them sick. Now they have the flu, and it self-replicates inside them, and now they're every cough and every sneeze, they're sending the new flu sauce out. You guys all believe it. I'm not saying anything that you guys don't believe. There's nothing to disagree with, right? You have it on your hands until you get it in your body. Once it's in your body, then now you're self-replicating. You guys all believe that. You also believe that people can cough out gas clouds of flu sauce too. Don't forget that, right? You believe that someone coughs and the invisible green, like light green cloud with the red speckles in it. It's invisible, of course, but it's also light green with red speckles in it. That the cloud exists and it floats in the air, waiting for somebody to come walking through it, or for it to get blown around. So if you're like eating in the restaurant and you go, and it can go up in your mouth and get you sick that way. What? What? Did she leave? When she leaves, let me know so we can have this party. Don't tell me. Oh, God. You guys. We just got rid of the smell. We just got rid of it. Yes. We had to spray Lysol and like incense and oh man, it took forever to get rid of the rosy smell. P to the U.
The uh, can you just oversee the boys between now and Wednesday? Just before Wednesday. They gotta clean this bathroom.
Yeah, yeah. So the cloud floats through the air, getting people sick, and that's how you all believe that. And you believe that if you have a strong immune system, which is the white blood cells, the white ninjas that sit at the doorway, they'll kick the ass, and you can give them steroids, and they'll be even bigger ass kickers. Smell is invisible. Do you believe in it? Well, smell is microscopic particles of whatever it is. Yes. Is smell alive? No. Does smell self-replicate and get you sick and blah, blah? No. That's a dumb argument. It's what we do. A lot of times we respond with dumb arguments. It's not you're dumb. It's a dumb argument. Because this is just how you're sort of knee-jerk responding. But yes, farts, and every time you're smelling farts, that's microscopic poo particles all up in your shit, all up in your nose. But you're underestimating. Like again, do you understand how intelligent the flu sauce has to be, the COVID sauce has to be able to survive from going from a 98-degree body immediately being ejected into an atmosphere that is not wet. I mean, it's a 98-degree wet body into a completely dry, cold. The intelligence level of viruses has to be up there with gravity, right? Gravity is another one of those super intelligent forces that knows exactly how much pressure to put on the oceans and water and all that shit, the ponds and the lakes, to keep all of that, the billions and gillions and fillions and chillions of pounds of water attached to a ball spinning at 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, 1,000 miles per hour, and the water just sticks like it's nothing. It also knows how to let me jump in the air. It knows how much pressure to put on the little seed as it's floating through the breeze, going in the opposite direction of the spin, because it's so smart. Just like these super smart viruses, these super smart germs. And the thing is, you've all experienced, like, unless you're this, weirdo virgin or a young viewer, which I don't assume I have, but maybe. If you're an adult and you've had any sort of relationship, especially when you're young, you've slept next to somebody that was sick, where all night they're coughing and sneezing and just straight breathing out all their particles, all their sauce all over you in your enclosed room, all snuggled up together, coughing, sneezing right in your face. You even kiss them goodnight. And you didn't get sick. We've all done it. I've been interacted with sick people so many times and not gotten sick from it. And am I willing to say that my immune system is just, that's what it is. Just I have a super top-notch immune system. That must be what it is. My wife, my kids can get, everybody can get sick, and I don't get sick because my immune system is just so high. I got sick for the first time since not believing in since I stopped believing in germs. I got sick for the first time a few weeks ago, and it was, I broke down, and it was just after Thanksgiving, and I was just getting all nostalgic, and I took a little bit of turkey. I ate just a little bit of turkey, and it was a mind fuck for me for sure. I hated it, but I just needed that. I just needed that reassurance that it wasn't the right thing to do. Well, it just so happens that I then got sick after I consumed the bird. I got sick. And if you look at when flu seasons coincide, they happen to coincide with when we're supposed to be eating birds. People generally eat birds around Thanksgiving and then around, Easter and shit like that. But we plunge into this really unhealthy we go from being outside, especially if you're in the north. You go from being outside all the time, getting sun, fresh air, doing things, to suddenly, like, the introduction is Halloween. And leading up to Halloween, especially nowadays, all you're doing is consuming all this processed nasty, sugar, sugar, sugar. And then you get to Halloween, and especially if you have kids, there's just all this nasty sugar as you're preparing for Thanksgiving. Especially if you're the person that's hosting it, the stress, the all the extra work you got to do for Thanksgiving, it's just crazy. At the same time, Christmas is coming, so you're starting to stress about that as well. But then you just indulge. Well, actually, they say Wednesday night, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, is the biggest party night of the year. It's not actually New Year's. It's that Wednesday because people normally get that huge break afterward to recover. So you party, you drink a lot, you imbibe a whole bunch of their nasty alcohol, and then you get ready for Christmas. And the entire time you're eating cakes and you're eating candies and all these things. You're drinking more. You have your Christmas feast, which is some other dead animal of some sort. And then you have New Year's right after that, where it's all about alcohol and alcohol and alcohol. And then you go into February with Valentine's Day, more candy, 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 and they've been giving you that candy trip when's Sweetest Day? I can't remember when Sweetest Day is, but it's all about candy. Between you're in this recovery stage, but they're just feeding you with candy. And it culminates, and you have St. Patrick's Day, more drinking, and then it culminates in Easter, where again you just feast on nastiness, on dead animals and processed chocolate and candy and all that shit. And those are the two times when people really get the sickest. But it's nothing to do with what you eat and how our bodies process things. And if being sick, if you weren't, again, controlling how you think, if you didn't think being sick was this horrible thing, right? Because you lose work, because that's all it's about. If it was really about our health, as soon as you started to feel that little tingle in your throat, you'd be like, "Hey boss, I got the tingle, I gotta go." And they'd say, "All right, well, hopefully you catch it in time and you can come back tomorrow. If you don't, we'll see you in about 4 or 5 days." And the day that you start to feel better, you'd still stay home, because usually if you go out that day and try to do it, you exhaust yourself so much and then add a couple days to the recovery. But you just stayed home and you recovered. If it was really about our health, that's how we would treat it. But we're told it's bad. It's a negative because we miss work. We're not at work. And if you're at home sick, you might stumble across someone like me. Last thing they want is that. So you're supposed to be at work, working yourself to death, because that's all we do is work ourselves to death. So we can get to the age where we can retire, and then by then you're so fucking broken it doesn't matter. You just want to sit there and do nothing. But they you know, they just have us so overwhelmed by all these different things, and you know, we think that we get sick because we're being invaded by these invisible things that manifest inside of us instead of the environment that we live in, instead of it being a process. And like I say, if you thought that you're like, oh cool, I'm getting sick, I must be ready to detoxify. I'm going to get myself a little book, or I'm going to get in my bed, I'm going to get some programs, I'm going to watch some TV, I'm going to drink some fluids, and I'm going to let my body do its thing. I know when I did get sick this last time, my wife got it. She had, what the doctor said was the beginning stages of pneumonia. My kids got sick. They both had it for a couple days, but they don't, they're superstars. They barely get sick, and if they do, they kill it real quick. And with me, I kept saying, if I get it, I'm not going to get it. It's going to be a couple days. I'm not going to kick this. I'm going to be better tomorrow. And my wife would say, oh, you're not better tomorrow. I say, I know, and I'll be better tomorrow. And it lasted like 2 days, 3 days. And that was that. I let my body do what it needed to do. It clearly needed to burn off that nasty bird and whatever came with it. So that's what it did. You don't take the medicines that they give you because those don't do anything. Like if your body's coughing, it's coughing because it's getting rid of it. If your body is having a fever, it has a fever because it's getting rid of it. This is if your body is producing mucus, it's getting rid of all the toxins and shit inside of your body. And if you prevent that by taking their medicines, no wonder it prolongs how sick you are. If I wasn't right, then I'd be sick all the time. I'd be wrong, right? If I wasn't right, I'd be wrong, and it'd be obvious that I'm wrong. There wouldn't be a bunch of dumbasses in the comments telling me that I'm right. They can't say anything against what I'm saying, so they just say dumb shit. Sickness are not germs. No, it's not germs. It's toxins. It's a buildup of toxins in your body, and your body gets rid of it. Depending on how you treat yourself, depending on what you eat specifically, some people have more toxins than others. Some people are getting rid of their toxins more than others, but sometimes you need that reset. And your body needs to rest and do what it does to get rid of it, and then you get better. But that's not germs. That's not an intelligent germ species, life form, whatever it is that we pass from one person to another. No, I don't think that's the thing. Again, are we all going to act like you haven't been with someone that was sick and you made out with them, you kissed them, and oh, I got some snot on my nose. Yeah, I know, I'm not feeling good. Oh, I'll take care of you. I got you. That you've never been in one of those situations, and then you didn't get sick. Do you just go, well, my immune system must be really high because I didn't get it, or do you just not give it any thought? Look at all these desperate comments. Desperate. Stop saying stuff. You're fucking with my chi. I want to believe the narrative. Stop making me think about it. Like like nobody's making anyone be here. If you don't like what's being said, you can go. Like nobody's stopping you. I think you should stay and hang out and try to tell me what you think I'm getting wrong, but you don't seem to have that ability. I think if you are here, you should like, share, and sub, because that helps. But I just, what are we doing here, peoples? Well, if I'm wrong, dude, I'm the one that's going against the grain. I'm the one that's saying the thing that nobody else is saying. And I mean, there are other people that talk about the germ thing, but I don't watch them. I don't know them. But you're the one that believes the narrative that you're supposed to believe, that has the internet at their disposal, that has the hopefully years of knowledge at your disposal, that you should be able to pick apart everything I'm saying. It shouldn't require you doing stupid shoot the messenger stuff and childish. You should just be able to be like, dude, you're wrong about this thing and this is why. And you're wrong about this thing and this is why. But that just never seems to happen. And you know, I'm not sitting here expecting that the system's going to come out and tell me that I'm right about something. I'm looking at how the system responds to what I say. And I know if I was sitting here trying to talk about unicorns being real, these guys wouldn't be here. Why would they be here? You know, there are countless feeds out there where people are talking about endless things, and there's not a concentrated effort of stupidity to try to get them to stop talking, try to interfere with their feed. You have to look for the answers where they are. The system's not going to tell you. Their actions, their response was what's going to tell you. Is it possible for someone to get sick from someone else? I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe, but I don't think so. But there's no. The problem is, like, I'm some random dude. If I think that way, that shouldn't matter to you. If you think a different way, then think the other way. I mean, just think about it. Think about it. How many times have you gotten sick with somebody because you guys ate the same food? You guys live the same lives. But I don't know. I've not gotten sick from sick people way more than I've ever gotten sick having been in contact with a sick person. Way, way more. And I'm not some hand washer, and I'm not some, antiseptic, what's that nasty shit called? Not hand sanitizer. I'm not that guy. I've smoked many, many a bowl with somebody that was sick. It's just like everything else, though. It's like we should be able to question things. Asking questions and talking about anything isn't wrong. Anything, whatever it is, we should be talking about it. If it makes you uncomfortable, you should try to talk about why it makes you uncomfortable. What makes you uncomfortable? Why, especially as a grown adult, you have a problem talking about certain things. I'm going to disagree with you. At least I want to hear your opinion. I do. I want to. That's how conversations work. If everybody was just on here like, oh, I agree with you. Oh, I agree with you. That'd be pretty boring. I want to hear what people disagree with. That's how I get better. This is about me. This is about me getting better so I can be a better, weapon. This isn't about, I'm trying to figure out if there's, I always compare it to boxing, right? Great boxers don't surround themselves with yes men. Great boxers surround themselves with people who nitpick. And the person that will say, hey, when you throw your right hand, you drop your left hand just a little bit too much, and that's fine, and that'll leave an opening. When you do this, you do that. You want people around you like that. You don't want to be Deontay Wilder, who just has so much power and scary presence that he's just knocking the shit out of people. Because once he finally comes up against somebody that can exploit weaknesses like Tyson Fury, he's going to lose. And if he's not able to adjust to that, he's going to lose subsequent. After the aura is shattered, he's going to keep losing. Losing is never like a bad thing. It might suck, but it just shows you where you get to learn and what you need to get better. And a lot of times when people, are in my position where they consistently just go out there, get in the ring, and kick the shit out of anybody that comes in trying to talk shit, they get lazy, and they holes in their game show up. So I appreciate that people are here and agree with me, and I assume you do. If you don't disagree with me, then I assume you agree with me. But I'm hoping that you guys are watching my shadow boxing, and you're trying to, you see that I'm dropping my elbow here, or I'm throwing this wrong, or I'm twisting my foot wrong. I'm hoping you're trying to pick apart every little thing that I'm getting wrong. If I say a word wrong, if I'm stupid and I say, lemo instead of limo, or I say, the gig is up instead of the jig is up. Tell me. Tell me what I'm getting wrong so that when the time comes and I'm now no longer in a training session in practice. I'm in the ring, it's the championship bout, and I'm going against, you know, the system. They finally put me on TV and say, we're gonna debunk this conspiracy theorist. Well, there's no holes to be exploited. You guys helped me, sculpt myself into the ultimate weapon. So any little holes I may have, you've helped me fix those. That's what this is about. We're trying to create the ultimate weapon. You don't actually read 99% of the comments, let alone have a back and forth conversation. Well, earn it. There are people that I do, but it's kind of impossible too. I mean, the comments do come pretty quickly. And then most of them are so stupid. Most of them are the stupid people that somehow, it's like it's the Israel that thinks if they say, you can't look into Israel's narrative because that demonizes Israel. And they think that makes Israel look good instead of realizing, like, well, if Israel wasn't doing horrible shit, then they couldn't be demonized.
Dad, I love this helmet.
Sweet.
The thunderproof helmet.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Every single time you get hit, it gives you a smile anyway.
Dad, you know what's even cooler?
Me?
Remember ability?
Huh? Yeah?
Well, the cool thing about that is,
Talk to me, brother. Talk to me.
you can electrocute yourself and not, like, electrocuted.
Oh, well, that's kind of cool, I guess.
I am Jesus. I am the G-Man. G-Man Jesus.
I love the people that are like, this guy is never wrong. Right. First of all, you're here with me during the day when I'm doing my regular life. But secondly, like, am I supposed to sit here and be like, well, the sky is green all the time. I'm gonna sit here and argue points that I think are wrong. For what? Like, if I'm wrong about something, why would I keep arguing about it? And then I'd look like your dumbass. If anybody tells me what I'm wrong about, how I'm wrong, the arrogance in thinking that you're just some random bot, some random profile that comes on here and tells me that I'm wrong, so I should be like, oh, well, shit, random person said I'm wrong. Instead of giving me a reason, like that's the arrogance I just don't have time for. Submarines are real, dude. You are wrong. Yep. See, again, look at how stupid you are. I'm telling you to tell me why and how I'm wrong. And you go, dude, I say you wrong. I say it. See, I say what you said I say. No, dude. Come on. Give me some more. Like it's just so stupid. And then, as always, the people that are so mad that I don't believe in submarines, it's just so funny to me. Why that makes you so mad? It's the same thing as the earth shape. I never understand why that makes people so mad, especially if you're a dumb Christian, right? You should be like all about the earth not being round. You should be all about the firmament. Kanye West. I'm not getting paid. Kanye was doing his job, dude. Kanye never said anything about the Jays. Kanye did. All Kanye did was mention the Jays and become the pariah that they needed him to be. They were about to bring in, well, at the same time, actually, they were bringing in Netanyahu, Bezalel Smotrich, Itmar Ben-Gvir, Avi Moez. They were bringing in this psychopathic, genocidal, supremacist coalition into the Israeli power structure. Like they were giving them all the power. There's not going to be another vote to get rid of Netanyahu. They can't. The way they put him in means they can't get rid of him until he wants to step down. And the people overwhelmingly voted for it. They knew he was running on the platform. It's just like Trump, you know, running on the platform that he's going to make the charges, the ability to charge a political figure with corruption, make that disappear so that his charges never existed to begin with. He didn't make his charges go away. He made the crime go away. And Netanyahu did the exact same thing. And you see these psychopaths that are in place in the Israeli power scheme, and instead of us paying attention to it, we were getting taught. We were getting given one of the most telling sort of prophetic lessons that they've given in a long time. So Kanye, who had made some of these statements like way earlier, the thing is, this is where again you have to think, right? How many of you follow Kanye West? How many of you are big? You got Kanye on your Twitter, and everything he says comes to the top of your page right away. I'm going to answer and say none of you. None of you follow Kanye West. Nobody does. None like kids and shit do. So the idea that Kanye tweet something and we all know about it, we only know about it because the J media told us to pay attention. They were like, hey, look at what he said. Look what he said. Look what he said. And what did he say? He said something stupid. He made a stupid threat. Kanye did three things. He made the stupid threat saying, I'm going to go DEFCON 3 on the Jays. Whatever the fuck that even means. It's just dumb. DEFCON 3. It's definitely a con. And it's his third one. The first one being the George Bush doesn't care about black people thing. This guy on live TV called the sitting president of the United States a racist during one of the most racially tenuous times in our fucking history, where black people were being called refugees in their own community because of a storm, what some would say a man-made storm. Kanye called the sitting president a racist. That George Bush does not care about black people. That didn't get him canceled. That blew him up. That was a well-played thing. Then he did the Taylor Swift thing. Then he did the whole concert thing, which who knows how that if that's one of those things that sort of you either know that or you don't. That's not a worldwide definite con. Right? But this time he says, I'm going to go DEFCON 3 on the Jays, which means nothing. He's just making a a nonsense threat. So, first lesson, you're not allowed to make threats, not towards them. Then he says, I can say anything I want about the Jays. I am Semitic too. Can't say I'm anti-Semitic. Can't say I'm anti-Semitic because I am Semitic. Black people are also Semitic. So he says he makes a threat, and he believes that he can say what he wants to say. He believes that he's a free American who has free speech. The third thing he says is, indeed, there is a conspiracy. They absolutely control said conspiracy, and that everybody in Hollywood has J's in their pockets. Everybody has J's in their pockets. Everybody that does anything has J's that make money off of them behind the scenes. And the thing is, this is where you know they're really, really stupid, right? I always tell you, they're stupid. Because instead of saying something like, you know what, Kanye might have a point. The J people have worked very, very hard behind the scenes to provide a network and a platform for everyone of all races, creeds, colors, and beliefs to be able to perform music and act and actually make a really good life for themselves. And a lot of you think that just happens because of talent, and it doesn't. There's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes, and I'm really proud to say that, yeah, we have provided a really great place and a platform for everybody to really excel. And that's all they would have had to say. But they don't. They say, you can't say that. So Kanye made a threat, told the truth, and he told the truth in two different ways. He made a threat. He said the truth about the Semitism thing, and that he can say anything he wants. And he exposed the conspiracy, the truth. Those are the three things Kanye did. And Kanye was a lesson for me, for people like me, who aren't afraid to say things. And you're supposed to look and say, look, they made Kanye lose $2 billion in a day. If they can do that to Kanye, what can they do to you? And I remember everybody talking about, oh, Kanye's he's gonna S himself. He's gonna off himself. Kanye's gonna end up S-icided and blah blah blah. And I just kept saying over and over again, no, he's just doing what he's told to do. Because at the end of the day, he didn't name any J's. He only talked about black people. Jay-Z, Beyonce, Michael Jordan, LeBron. He only talked about black people. He brought the focus to black people. And Kyrie, at the same time, they had Kyrie, which was the lesson to all of you. I'm asking you guys, share my video. Share my feed. Take 2 seconds, share it on Facebook. Share it. Help other people get here and maybe have this conversation. You could even share it by saying, this guy's crazy. Come and tell him he's crazy. Or like Kyrie did, where he didn't say anything. He just shared the video. He just shared the link. And the thing is, this is a movie I would have never heard of. Had again, the news not told me about it. I definitely don't follow Kyrie Irving for anything. So the news is telling me, oh, Kyrie Irving shared a link. Oh, he shared a link. He shared a link. He shared a link. Well, obviously, what I'm going to do is, hey, what link did Kanye share or did Kyrie share? And you see, and you say, oh, he shared something called From Hebrew to Negro. And it's the story of how the blacks are the original Jews and blah, blah, bunch of bullshit nonsense that really doesn't matter. But it will create a bunch of division. It will create a bunch of distraction. And so you have the lesson that's supposed to be for me and people like me through Kanye, and the lesson for people like you with Kyrie, who Kyrie makes them tons of money. He's one of the best ball players in the league. He got suspended for 8 games. He also happens to be the anti-vax guy. Go figure. But you got your lesson, and in case you guys didn't catch the lesson fully, it just so happens that of all people, Dave Chappelle is the host for Saturday Night Live that following weekend. After everything breaks, Dave Chappelle just happens to be the host. And what does Dave do? Well, Dave tells you, in case you missed it, in case you missed all the subtle stuff, Dave tells you the rules. Dave comes out and he says, first thing he does is he pulls out a piece of paper and he says, I just want to say I support my J friends and the J people and everything they do, and this is just comedy. Please don't take my money away. Basically. And the first thing he says is, I've been around Hollywood for a really, really long time. 30 years. I've been around Hollywood for a long, long time. And the one thing I know, one thing I've learned in my time in Hollywood is that there are 2 words that you never say together and good comes out of it. And that is the and J's. And he proceeds to knock them dead. The crowd is laughing at every single thing he says, every joke he says. And he's basically saying, yeah, it is true, but we're just not supposed to talk about it. That's sort of the gist of the Dave Chappelle skit. The 12-minute monologue, whatever. And he talks about Kanye. And he talks about Kyrie. And he even talks about how Trump is going to win because of the poor whites. And you could say that it's probably one of the most successful, funniest open monologues in history. Except for one thing. At one point, he says, I do have to say that the J people, the one thing they can't do is blame the black people for what happened to them, because the blacks had nothing to do with it. And when he says that, the entire crowd goes silent. And you can hear the crickets. And then somebody goes, yeah. And Dave goes, he gets it. And then the whole crowd laughs again. And they go right back into laughing at everything he says. But when he pointed out just a simple fact that, hey, the Jays and black people, the blacks had nothing to do with that shit. If anything, the Jays were the ones that owned all the slave ships. At least according to the bullshit slave narrative. Because let me guess, you buy that one too, right? You know what I always ask people that believe in the narratives we're given? Do you know that here in the 2000s, the 2020s, I think if you look, I think it's like 2018, maybe 19, I'm not sure. But all these reports were coming out about funeral homes being exposed as having not dealt with the dead bodies appropriately. And it was like story after story kept coming out. And just about everyone you look into actually has this crazy story. And it comes out that it's, bodies don't just disappear. Especially these new full of preservative bodies that we have. And it's difficult in 2020s to handle all of the dead bodies that exist. It's just hard to do something with them, put them somewhere, even cremating people. Bodies don't just light on fire. 70% water and blah, 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 blah. So you believe I mean, I don't know if you accept it or I don't even know. What do you think about the moon landing? Dumb, didn't happen. If we went to the moon in 69 and 5 subsequent times in the next couple of years, it's 2024. We'd be vacationing on the moon by now. It's plain and simple. But, shit, what was I talking about? That's why I don't read comments, because I get lost in what I was talking about. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh, man. Smoking Labrador, man. Oh, fuck. It's funny again. I'm delusional. Yep. Not telling me what I'm delusional about, but that I am delusional. Gotcha. You know, it's all just so phony, man. It's all so phony. Oh yeah, the dead bodies thing. So you believe that well, you have to accept the fact that in today's society, with all of our technology, all of our resources, all of the everything advancements that we have, that we still have trouble keeping up with the dead body. They say that when white man invaded, there were as many as 100 million natives here, probably more, in the Americas, all of them. So that's 100 million people just like that. Now, of that 100 million people, a bunch of them are going to have children, multiple children, who are going to have children, who are going to have children, who are going to have children. While at the same time, this white cancer, supposedly, again, this is if you believe the narrative, which I don't. The white cancer is spreading like wildfire as well. Popping out babies, popping out babies. Along with bringing black people from Africa along the hurricane routes with their slave ships. God, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. Once you get here, you just go, come on. Really? 1600s going along those hurricane routes, huh? From Africa here. Gotcha. Totally makes sense. Of course, black people only ever revolted once. They took over the one plantation, marched down the street, took over the next plantation, and then it's either going to the third or going to the fourth. It's usually in threes with their stupid stories, so it's probably the third. On their way there, they're doing all the same dance moves and singing and dancing and shit. On the way there, the military, the United States military, had been assembled and met them in the road. And when they came around the bend and they saw the military was there, they threw up their hands and, oh, Lordy, we quit. And they went back to work. And that's the only story of slaves' revolt. But you believe that they brought all these Africans. I read it was 50 million at one point, but that just didn't seem possible. So I don't even know what they're supposedly say how many Africans were brought over, but it's a lot. And then supposedly the Africans were basically bred, right? They were just breeding them to make more and more slaves. So you have all these black people, all these white people, and all these natives that over the last 400 years have been killing each other and producing and killing and producing and killing and producing and killing. 330 some million people here in the United States to this day. And you know, where are the dead bodies? Where are the billions and billions of dead bodies that should exist and be strewn throughout the land if that many people actually lived here? You know, we find supposed dead body burial sites that are 1,000 years old, 2,000 years old, the caveman, the this, the that, well preserved. Look at, we still have fibers and this. We're talking about a few hundred years ago. Where'd all those bodies go? You've never ever in your life been outside digging in the woods or whatever and found a human tooth. Each person has 32 teeth, adult teeth, 20 something, 22, whatever, kid teeth that they lose all the kid teeth and then they get their adult teeth, of which, you know, teeth are like the thing that lasts forever. You got to pull the teeth and destroy them because the teeth will long last out everything else. That's the thing the pig's digestion can't take the teeth and the hair. Whatever. So, of all these billions and billions of people that lived, each one of them having, you know, at least 40 teeth that they lost, and teeth not going anywhere. You'd think you'd find teeth all the time. It'd be trillions of teeth. You'd think you'd find them sometimes. Nope. The only people that ever find anything are people that are looking for the thing that they find. Occasionally you get this story of some random goyim that found something, but who's to say that's real? But, you know, they theorized dinosaurs, and then 10 years later, two guys found, they discovered, 10 years later they discovered them in 1875, and then two guys ran around all over the world naming dinosaurs as they were just being found like crazy. Suddenly, for some reason, now the earth is suddenly pushing all these dinosaur bones out. All these people that have lived here for all these thousands of years never found any dinosaur bones. Suddenly they're being found everywhere. 1875. And two guys are able to go around the world and name them and check everything out. Two guys all around the world traveling like they got planes and shit in 1875. You found me. Well, I'm glad you found me. I'm here. But you just don't think about it. And if you, so one day YouTube suggests that I watch this random video from a page called Today I Watched or Today I Found Out or something like that. And just like all those pages, it's a guy with a British accent or some sort of accent, bald head, beard, you know, very chosen look to him, glasses. And it's literally one of the best things you can see. Like, it's this video that says, what happened to the dead bodies after the great battles throughout history? And so it's like this 12, 15-minute video, right? Well, the first 38, 40 seconds of it is a built-in ad. They filmed the ad as part of the video for this military simulation tank game that you get a special tank if you use this code. Like, just think about it. Who is sponsoring these military simulation games, getting people to get that military mindset? So the first like 45 seconds you get through that. He then introduces the video. He says, you know, this is all throughout time, the great battles, blah, 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 blah. By like the minute 15-second mark, he says, I do want to make a quick side note that when it comes to this particular issue, there is a historical gap in the memory. There's a tremendous gap in the historical memory when it comes to this one subject alone. So basically, the next 15 minutes or 12 minutes or whatever is going to be nothing but bullshit. Because you're literally saying we don't know what happened to all the dead bodies. I know we tell you all these fantastic stories, but just like the telemetry data, we don't have the proof. And so I didn't even bother watching it. Once I got that narrative that, oh, it's all fake, everything they're saying is fake, then what the fuck's the point of watching it? But it's just like everything else. One of my favorite fucking dumb stories they give us is the Battle of Gettysburg. And this is the shit that you just don't think about, right? So when we're talking about Civil War battles, we're talking about the Confederacy, which is made up of so 1% of the population was actually wealthy enough to own slaves at the time. It's that 1% that then convinced, you know, a bunch of yokels and mountain people and shit that it was about their southern pride and southern this and southern that so that they could continue to own slaves. And they wear the gray uniforms, the dark gray uniforms. On the other side, you have the Union soldiers who wear the blue uniform. Or is it the other way around? They wear the blue and the Union wears the gray. Can't remember. Excuse me. One's dark blue and one's dark gray. But you have all of these. It's not like they have, you know, cars and shit back then. There are railroads, but very few. So what you have is apparently entire platoons marching from one place to the next. How did they eat? We don't know. Where did they sleep? We don't know. The reality of the situation is much more ridiculous than you think. It's kind of like the South American invaders that came up to the United States, 10,000 strong, but 10,000, we don't even know. Where did they sleep? Where did they eat? Where did they get water from? How did they stay clean? Because they were all so clean. Like, it's all just, it's a whole other bullshit narrative that I'm not talking about right now. So, with the Battle of Gettysburg, they all marched to southern Pennsylvania in the summertime. It's the summertime. And what ends up happening is on the first day of battle, so again, think about this. All of a sudden, there are all these people in a place that there weren't people there before. Not a lot of them, at least. So again, even the idea of eating animals, where did they get the animals from? Where did they, you know, how did you feed all of these different soldiers? We're talking about tens of thousands of soldiers because on the first day, there were as many as 20,000 casualties. Most of them on the south. But I mean, to kill 20,000, you probably have double that. Who knows? Tens of thousands of people are there having this battle, and they kill 20,000. Now, we've all been in history class where they were, and here's a note from a Confederate soldier who died on the battlefield. And of course, they're all these slack-jaw yokels, but for some reason, they all write like they're in an eloquent Shakespearean play. My dearest beloved, I have been mortally wounded, fighting for the honor of your love and the Confederacy. Although I am dying, I look at the sunset, and it is the second most beautiful thing I have ever seen. With the first, of course, being you, my love. And he writes out like a line. And I remember in like eighth grade, I asked my teacher, well, how did they get all those notes and little trinkets and shit? What did they do? And my teacher said that at nighttime they had a truce, and that at nighttime they would clean the battlefield. Each side would take their dead and get any little trinkets and notes they could so they could prepare the battlefield for the next day. So they march to the area. They then get into the big gunfight and kill 20,000. All day they're shooting and killing 20,000. Nighttime rolls around. Those same people that were doing all that killing are now out on the battlefield deciding which dead bodies have on blue and which dead bodies have on gray. They don't have spotlights. This is like by torchlight or moonlight or some shit. You know how blue and gray can be so easily distinguished at night, especially covered in blood. And there was so much blood that the river ran blood, blah, 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 blah. So they spend all night, removing 20,000 dead bodies from a battlefield, dead weight, pulling that has to be quite the undertaking. And then wherever they stored them, they piled them, because it's not like they had refrigeration cars or anything like that. So they just sort of stored them. And it's the summertime. It's humid Pennsylvania, and I don't know if you know what happens to dead bodies, but immediately they'll never be zombies. They'll never bring things back to life. Why? Because immediately when you die, your body starts to fall apart. It starts to decay. And when it's humid and it's hot and all that shit, the body actually swells up. All the gases and shit swell up until the orifices, the seal breaks, and then all the nastiness in the body just comes out, leaks all out, or all the fucking eyes, everything. It's just disgusting. And so they had a big pile of 20,000 dead bodies. While, they were able to clear that overnight. And then the next day they began fighting again. So these guys have marched, fought, cleaned the battlefield, and now they're fighting again. And on the second day, around 8,000 troops were killed. Mostly again on the south. Repeat the process, clear the dead bodies overnight. The next day they fight, and the last 2,000 are killed. And then I would assume they have to go march off to the next battlefield. Because again, where are they going to stay? Where are they going to eat? What are they how are they showering and just the logistics of things. If you focus on the logistics and not the romantic story, you'll be surprised how stupid so much of our history sounds. So you say, okay, so now they have 30,000 dead bodies. What do they do with them? 30,000 dead bodies. Well, according to the official narrative, they buried all of those bodies in shallow graves, and then came back a year later, dug them all up, and took them over to Arlington or whatever military. I think it's Arlington. But they took them to. That's the official narrative. In 1876, that's when they're doing that. And you have to love that, like, The symbol of the South, of Southern pride. That's my pride. That's heritage, not hate. The symbol of your pride is a flag that lasted 4.5 years, got its ass kicked. You can't come up with any other better symbol of Southern pride, which again is just a way of them causing divide. Oh, you're a northerner. Well, you're a southerner. We live in the same place. We're all the same. We should be helping each other. Nope, you're a southerner. You're a northerner. Yankee. Redneck. There's more fucking stupid nonsense designed to keep Goyim fighting each other. Jays don't care. They have something called the law of return in Israel. And if you can show that at least one of your grandparents was Jay, not even practicing, just a Jay, then you have the right to come to Israel and get your, your J life. You get your nice little your mansion, your settlement mansion. You get your monthly check and you're good to go. It's fucking crazy. I just got a sack of awesome weed from the dude at the gas station. Nice job. Dangerous, but nice job. It's crazy how many people. It's like crazy how weed works nowadays. When I was a kid and it was illegal, man, that sucked. Do you know how stupid it is to think that there are people on here pretending like people who were on submarines growing up are now on my fucking YouTube feed? Do you know how stupid that is? And not only are they're giving all of this top secret information out. They're identifying themselves as submarine. Like, you know how stupid that is? If there was some sort of terrorist organization looking, they could find you now and then they could extort secrets from you and blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not how this works. Military people don't just go out looking for YouTube feeds that they can jump on and give secrets away. But as always, you have to ask yourself why so many people are so much more concerned with submarines than they are the Jayish conspiracy, the slavery in which we all live under, the pedo stuff, the genocide happening. Like, it's just insane to me, you know? People don't understand what a title is. Pretty funny. Like, you just can't help but show how stupid you are. Especially when you type out bro. You say bro so much, you type it. That is fucking nuts. Look, I think, as always, I mean, again, if you actually said something that mattered, that would be really interesting. I'd love to learn from you. If you know something that I'm getting wrong, I'd love to learn from you, but that just never happens. It's always just crybaby weird shit. Like my dad said, a man convicted against his will is the same opinion still. Okay. Boy, we are sure going to miss your input. It's been so great. I don't know. I haven't read it, so I can't say. Ooh, unemployed loser. Says a guy who's on my feed. Do you work on Saturdays? Are you a Saturday worker? Unemployed loser. I watch you every day and I think you're a loser. So crazy. Loser. Yep, I can't read. That's my. You got me. It's my secret is I can't read. All those countless videos where I'm reading stuff, I actually fucking memorized it, and then I just pretend to read it. Yeah, you got me. Oh, I swear the stupid things people say. It's like embarrassing, man. Imagine if there was like some alien species that happened to watch my feed and they were like judging us based on what I experience. And they just see like, man, this guy keeps trying to get people to at the very least tell him how he's wrong and they won't do it. This population is going to be easy to override. I mean, it's the stupidity. It's just so outrageous. Yeah, I know they believe in this Jesus thing, and they have no reason to. The fucking government sprays the shit out of them every day in the sky, and they argue about whether it's actually real or not. Those lines in the sky aren't real. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even see them. They commit genocide and then call themselves the victims, and everybody else is like, oh, okay, I guess you're the victim then. If you say so, you are the chosen people. Just wild. Wow, I don't know. For somebody that constantly tries to learn and better themselves, to be surrounded by such stupidity is like this, it's this reminder, like, hey, dude, you know you're doing the right thing. Like, you see how stupid it is out there. You see how okay with being stupid all these people are. They don't try to, get away from it and say, this is, I want to learn, I want to be better, I want to, and I want to educate myself, I want to, this is what I think and this is why I think it, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'm willing to adjust. They just go, no, 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 don't talk about that stuff. You're not allowed to talk about it. If you talk about Chicago, if you aren't familiar with the tunnel systems in Chicago and that narrative, again, it's like everything that you think is some crazy conspiracy theory, you then go look and you go, oh, well, I guess it's not much of a conspiracy theory. Yeah, they were having weird dinner parties in tunnel systems. Yeah, that's weird. I guess, oh no, they somehow had the ability to build tunnel systems underneath cities that were already there to begin with. What? How the fuck were they drilling in the 1800s? I keep forgetting I want to do the Thames River, right? Just do me a favor, all of you dumb trolls on here, right? Go look up the Thames River and the Thames River Tunnel. And the next time I go live, we'll talk about the Thames River Tunnel. And this time, you know what I'm going to talk about, so you can educate yourself to the point where everything I say that's wrong, you'll just be able to be like, boom, boom, boom. You'll be able to check me on all these crazy lies and bullshit that I'm always spreading. Right? Wouldn't that work out really well? Don't you think that would work out well for you? I'm wrong and I make all this shit up and I'm lying and blah, blah, blah. So you'll be able to actually debunk what I'm saying instead of consistently pointing to how stupid you are. I mean, if I was you, I would take that. That's me giving you a gift, right? Acapulco Gold. Wouldn't that be nice? Our weed today is so much better than any of that bullshit. But our weed today is different too. So I don't know. I would love to get some Acapulco gold. That would be amazing. Some real Acapulco gold. I don't think that shit exists anymore. I don't know. The tunnel exists. What about it? If you have to be like told to think, how did the tunnel get here? I, we're on different pages, man. That's immediately what I do. That's the immediate question I ask. When was this made? How did they? What? 18? What? How? We didn't have power tools back then. How did we? How would we be drilling and shit? And it's fascinating because it's just like how can you be okay with the Hollywood pedo situation? How can you be okay with knowing that the Jays are the chosen people despite them killing your gods? They're they're your God's favorite chosen people despite killing his only son and being the bad guys in the Bible. Like, how can you look at the chemtrails and be like, oh, that's nothing? How can you know about fluoride and the water systems and all that? How can you, if you have looked into the jabs, how can you learn about that shit and still do it? Like, I just am just, I I always knew that it was going to be difficult. And I always knew that there would be opposition and whatnot. But I'm always surprised. Like every time I talk about, especially with these idiots on here being pedos, that none of them go, fuck you, I'm not a pedo, blah, blah, blah. That shit's gross. We should kill them all. Not one of them. And I flat out call them that by name. And they still just, they can talk about all kinds of other things, but for some reason, they don't want to deny being pedos. You know, you again, you're not going to get a message or an email or whatever that says, yes, actually we are pedos and this is what we do and we try to stop people that want to kill blah. You're not going to get that. So you just have to ask yourself, like, when you figure out that my mission statement is that we need to cut off Israel and eliminate the J control while also, like, physically eliminating pedophiles, killing pedophiles. We use that $3.8 billion a year to create the ultimate pedo hunter program and just start wiping out anybody that shows up to those stings and all that shit. You got a history of it, you got an accusation, whatever, a provable accusation, that's it, you're done. How many people don't agree with that? Do you guys really not agree that our United States tax dollars would be much better suited protecting our children in the United States and elsewhere, but especially here in the United States, a United States-based program that hunts and eliminates pedos? You think your tax dollars, your personal hard-earned tax dollars, should go to Israel instead? Or instead of, once we get the pedo program up and running, it's not going to cost $3.8 billion a year to run. So we then create, personally, I think we need a living wage. I think the spouses of working people should get a living wage, whether it's a man or a woman. You ever wonder why you see so many elderly women at like places like Walmart, barely able to stand up, but they're a greeter? It's because their husband died, and when their husband died, his pension and all that stuff stopped coming. So this woman who had spent her whole life taking care of her house, taking care of her family, working just as hard as her husband does, is then out on her ass. She gets nothing. If she was given a minimum wage 40-hour a week paycheck every week until she got to retirement age, and then she had her social, that why wouldn't we want that? Why wouldn't that be a better use of our money than giving it to Israel? Jesus is king. Oh my God. So stupid. But of course, instead of talking about the things that I'm saying, you want to talk about submarines again. You've been here time and time again. And I tell everybody, if you want to talk about submarines, go to the first 9 parts. 9 different videos, multiple hours each, delving into the submarines pretty in depth. Go right ahead. Go debunk anything I have to say. But act like you're a human being now and think this is the title of the show. So that doesn't mean every single show, 46 parts are all going to be about the same thing. That'd be pretty boring. So why don't you, like an intelligent, reasonable human being, engage in the conversation that's being had, especially since I'm wrong about everything. You know? Well, if you just sat here for a minute, you'd probably figure it out. What do you think of flat Earth? I prefer to talk about it as the Earth-shaped argument because I don't believe it is a round ball flying through space, but I believe it's a dome-shaped structure. But the reality is, when it comes to the Earth shape, or it comes to any of those other things, if you really want the answers, you have to unify with the other Goyim and overthrow the Jays that control our narrative. It's the only way we get the answers we seek. That's the only way that you get the answers that you're looking for, is by addressing who controls what we think. We are only given, we only know what we're given. And that's the sad part. That's the scary part. Right? Ask yourself why there would be people trying to tell you not to engage in this conversation. Why would there be people that come here, spend multiple days and hours here, trying to tell other people not to watch if I'm wrong? They have nothing. It's Saturday. They have nothing else going on a Saturday but to sit here and watch somebody, the police, somebody they hate so much. Does that make sense to you? A dome is a half a sphere. Sure it is. Very good. You get a gold star for the day. I didn't think Jesus, with his king people, would be that smart. Like I said, I hate to admit it. I really do. I just feel so gross saying it. But considering I think the Bible is 100% nonsense. Okay, keep that in mind. The Bible is 100% nonsense. And I think it makes more sense than the whole Big Bang narrative. Ew. Ew, isn't that gross? It's Sunday, not Saturday. Yeah, I know. Did I say Saturday? I meant Sunday, sorry. See, but see, at least you can prove that you can hear. See, I do that sometimes on purpose. That time I didn't. But I do that sometimes just so I can see, because it proves the point. It proves that these guys can actually address the things that I'm saying. And if I am getting something wrong and they can prove it, oh, they will. They'll immediately. Any little mistake, any little slip up I make, they're going to prove it. So considering I've been saying all of these things and they haven't been addressing what I've been saying, what does that tell you about what I'm saying? Under the Dome. We have a song called Under the Dome. You should check it out. Because you are hysterical to watch. It is so funny watching people call you pedophile, right? It is so funny watching people talk about genocide and how disgusting Jays are. Oh man. Well, hey, at least I can bring humor to it. But thank you for continuing to prove my point. You haven't found peace and happiness because you reject Jesus. Yeah. I'm glad, right? If you know, dumbing myself down and distracting myself with Jesus gives me peace and happiness while there's genocide taking place, well, that really makes me a piece of shit, doesn't it? But I'm so glad you understand. I'm so glad you get it. Oh, stop with the Bible. See, it doesn't say, I'm not a fucking pedo, fuck you. Nope, trying to tell me to stop talking about something else. Interesting how that always works. No, it's funny watching an unkept guy smoking weed and rambling about it. Yeah, it's funny. Okay. I don't care. Like, as long as you're getting it, you could be doing anything else. And instead, you're building my numbers, building my channel, making it more and more likely that one of these days YouTube's going to have to pay me. Thank you. I'm okay with it. I'm so terrible then, or so funny, so whatever. Good luck in your everyday life trying to continue to ignore the real truth because you're going to constantly hear my voice in your head. Think he's a J? Think he's a J? It's okay. I'm so okay with all of it. Why don't you do something about the genocide, Dad? I am. I'm bringing awareness to not only the genocide, but to the fact that we can talk about it. That and all of the little intricate pieces that make that genocide possible. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. What are you doing? Oh wait, you're trolling my feed trying to get me to stop doing it. Gotcha. That makes sense. I should be more like you. I shouldn't be making a feed encouraging people to kill pedos. Nah. What kind of dickhead does that? I don't need to make my point, Clayton. You make it for me. When I say people like you are pedos, and then you don't deny it and keep saying more and more comments that don't deny it, that says a lot. So thank you. I don't, I'm pointing it out, but I don't need to. Everybody sees it. Go into Palestine and see how they treat you. Yeah, that's what it is. They treat me so bad because they're the bad Palestinians, not like those Jays. Do you guys ever watch the movie Where in the World is Osama bin Laden? The Morgan Spurlock film. I'm actually surprised it worked out this way, but I think it's because he put the Israel trip at the end that they didn't really they didn't watch it, because if they would have watched it, I can't imagine why they would let it go through like that, other than, again, they're stupid and they don't realize how. But everywhere that Morgan Spurlock went, he was greeted with love and happiness. By the way, if you're watching, like, share, and sub. Take 2 seconds to do that. 2 seconds to share it on Facebook. 2 seconds to click that like. It helps. Show that you're against the pedos. Show that you're against the genocide. Be proud of who we are here. But Morgan he went all over, and everywhere he went, is even the Palestinians especially treated him with love. They would say, look, we don't hate Americans. We don't hate America. What we hate is the government that supports Israel. And he would get told this everywhere he went. Except when he went to Israel, and first he meets with an illegal settler who lives in a mansion and who's talking about the Lord promised this land to the J people thousands of years ago, and it's our rightful land. So we live here, and this is how this is supposed to go. And then they go walking like near the edge, and a tank fires like a warning shot near them. So then he goes into one of the kibbutzes, one of the little towns, And he gets out of his cab and he just wants to, like he's been doing throughout the entire Middle East, just goes to a place, gets out and starts talking to random people. And they always welcomed him, right? The first little penguin weirdo he walks up to, he starts talking to him, and the guy's like really shitty and no, we are the victims, it's all bad, and he runs off. And within about 5 minutes, he's surrounded by a mob. They're dumping water on him from above. It's this angry mob. And for the first time in the entire movie, you see the armed security that's actually with him, protecting him. And they're there pushing all these Jays away that are trying to attack this man. And all he wanted to do was ask questions about, you know, about the conflict and about Osama bin Laden, really. And so when people say, "Oh, go to Palestine and see how they treat you," they treat you like a person. They'd probably be skeptical of you, which they rightfully should. But as soon as you sort of they realize that you're not one of these disgusting pieces of shit, I'm sure they're gonna welcome you like they always do. Hang on a second. Just hang one second. All right, sorry about that. These are horrible, horrible people. Horrible. If you've ever been unfortunate enough to have to stand next to some on a bus or at a place, it's an assault on your senses. They're disgusting. They stink. And they're mean, awful, awful people. Hang on. You gotta just hang with me for a second. Sorry, I know it's a little confusing, but you just gotta stick with me for a second here. Just hang on. Just hang on. He needs deliverance. All right, sorry about that. That's the last time. Buffering. Oh, look, we got a dumb Trump. Oh, man. Just, it's like you understand why the dumb Jays, like, think about it. During the Hollowhokes, the narrative is that they were told that they had to wear armbands or little badges attached to their shirt so they could be identified. What kind of stupid person doesn't take the armband off or the badge and leave the place where supposedly your people are getting taken and never returned? Do you know how stupid that is? They think it makes them look like victims when really it makes them look stupid. And they're stupid. It's just stupid. It has to be. They have to be stupid. You have to be stupid to look at the average J and be like, yep, that's the chosen. That's the special. You have to be stupid to look at the belief structure and where it all comes from and how, like, most people just don't understand how little historical backing their book actually has. Like, people always walk around and say the Bible is the most historically accurate book of all time. And it's like, no, dude. Whoever said that and you heard them say it and then you thought you would start talking, you're saying the same thing, that's just stupid. It's not. It's really, really fucking stupid. It is the Bible is the dumbest. Like, it's just so unbelievably dumb. Everything Jesus says, all the red stuff, he's just whining. Well, you need to believe in me. My dad said, my dad, believe in me. It's so pathetic. And it's like unnecessarily dumb in so many parts. But then you get the dumb bigots who will be like, oh, the Bible justifies my hatred of gay people. And you go, what do you mean? Like the Sodom and Gomorrah story? Yeah, Sodom and Gomorrah. And it's like, you just don't know that story. You guys want to talk about Sodom and Gomorrah? This is one of my favorite, are you fucking kidding me? This is stupid stories ever. Right? So the story starts with Lot. The guy's name is Lot. And he's like a few hundred years old or some shit. And he's sitting at the way that the Bible makes things sound is like towns are like these forts, right? And all around the town there's like a wall, and then there's like, there's like gates or some shit. Like, it's really weird how they make it sound. But they're Sodom and Gomorrah are like two towns together. And so Lot is sitting on one of the fences, right? And he's like whittling a stick or some shit. When the two angels come walking up, they're walking through the desert and they come walking up. And Lot's like, hey, you guys, come stay at my house. He doesn't know they're angels. He just sees these two strangers come walking up and he's like, hey, come on, come to my house. Come stay at my house. And they're like, nah, man, we got a journey ahead of us. We got to get over there. And Lot's like, no, no, no. Come into my house. I'll give you some unleavened bread. You can hang out. I've got some virgin daughters. Like, come hang out. And the angels are like, all right, let's go hang out. So as soon as the angels get into the town, it's not like the town is full of gay people. It's your typical, when I say like old Bible town, you can just picture like thatch roofs and the blacksmith hammering tink, tink, and the horses and the little maid churning the butter. It's like one of those dumbass towns, right? As soon as they walk in the town, all of the men in the town are stricken with gay. Suddenly they're gay. They don't even understand it. They don't know it. But they're suddenly super gay, and they're not gay for each other. They're gay for these two angels that showed up to Lot's house. I don't know how they know they're there, but it's almost like God did it. It's almost like God made everyone gay and made everyone go over to Lot's house. So Lot and the two angels are in their house, and in his house, and suddenly they're like, what the hell's that noise? And they look outside, and it's all the men in the town. And they're like, Lot, give us those angels. We want to have gay sex with them. And Lot's like, what do you mean? You can't have gay sex with these guys. And they're like, Lot, we're going to have gay sex with those guys. And Lot's like, you can't do that. Listen. I'll make you a deal. I have two virgin daughters. You guys, Bill, David, you guys know you're betrothed to them. How about this? How about I give you my two virgin daughters, and you guys rape mob all you want with them, and we'll call it good. And thankfully, the rape mob's like, nah, we don't want your two virgin daughters. We want those dudes that are in your house. And we're going to come get them. And they're walking all slow. And so the angel opens the door, reaches out, grabs Lot, and pulls him in. And then, dinkle, dinkle, dink, suddenly, everybody's blind now. So now they're gay and blind. And I guess they're too stupid, because now that they're blind, they're like, I can't find the door handle. I still want to have sex with those guys in their butts. But I can't find the door handle. And then it's later. We don't really know what happens, but now it's just later. And the angels are talking with Lot, and they're like, yeah, that was pretty weird, huh? And he's like, I know, what happened? And he's like, well, they're like, well, God is going to bring fire and brimstone down upon Sodom and Gomorrah because all those guys are gay. And Lot's like, they weren't gay before. The ship is going to bring fire and brimstone down. And you were supposed to be there too, but because you showed us some kindness, we're going to let you, your daughters, your wife, and your daughter's betrothed husbands, you guys can get on out of here. Now Lot's this old crippled man, right? And he's like, hey, but I'm an old crippled man. Is it okay if we go to that town, that other town that's Godspeed away? And the angels are like, hang on. Let me check. And so they get out their little angel cell phone and they're like, hey God, it's Timmy down here. And God's like, oh fuck. You're not writing me wood, are you, Timmy? And he's like, no, God, we're actually having a great time down here with Lot. He's been meeting all his quotas. I know you saw it, but he offered his virgin daughters to the rape mob for us. So he really appreciates that you're gonna help him out. But he's old and crippled, and he was sort of wondering if him and his family can go to that other town that's right over there. And he's like, Timmy, you're not writing me more wood, are you? This isn't gonna fall through, is it? He's gonna go to that town, isn't he? Yeah, of course. No, he's great. Everything's great. They got a really beautiful house. Everything's good. Yeah, but no, he's got a beautiful family, and they're just gonna go. They're just gonna go over to the town if that's okay with you. And God's like, Timmy, don't let this one slip through. Okay, I'm sick of your shit. Talk to you when you get back. Click. And he's like, yeah, okay, God, thanks a lot. Yeah, I'll let him know. All right, thanks. Bye bye. And he's like, good news, Lot. Good news. God said, yes, you can go to the town. You know, just take your wives and your wife and your daughters and their boyfriends and their fiances. But one thing you do, don't look back. If you look back while you're going, you'll turn into a pillar of salt. Pillar of salt, yeah, pillar of salt. Okay, I'll go talk to the boys now. So Lot goes over to talk to the boyfriends, and he's like, "Hey, guys, can I talk to you for a minute?" And they're like, "Yeah, what's up, Lot?" And he's like, "You know how earlier today you were like gay and then blind for a little while?" And they were like, "Yeah, that was so weird, bro. What was that about?" And Lot's like, "Well, no, I don't believe this, but there was some angels, and they said, and they said that God's gonna rain fire and brimstone down in the town, and he gave us the okay to get out of here. You can come with us." And they're like, "What, Lot? You silly old man! Fire and brimstone from God? No, man. We were just gay and blind for a little while earlier. No? That's all. That's nothing weird. That happens all the time. It's all good. Like don't trip, God. No, or Lot, you're crazy. We'll see you tomorrow, okay? We'll be there to oogle our fiancés tomorrow." And Lot's like, "All right, well, there's not gonna be a tomorrow." "Okay, Lot, you have a good night, you crazy old man." So Lot goes home and he's like, they don't want to go. So then it's the next morning and they're leaving. And now again, this is a crippled old man and his daughters that are like either 15 and 13 or 14 and 12, probably 14 and 12. And then his wife, and they're all godspeeding it to the town. And of course, because women are so stupid, the wife turns and looks, and she turns into a pillar of salt. She must have done it in front of them, because if she turned into a pillar of salt behind them and they turned and looked, well, they would have turned into pillars of salt as well. But she turned into a pillar of salt, whatever the fuck that means. And when they get to the town, Lot says to his daughters, "Hey, you know what? I think those angels might have been lying. I just happen to have a cave at the top of that mountain over there that's all full of food and apparently a shit ton of alcohol. Why don't we go up there instead? I don't trust those angels, which probably got them in a lot of trouble. Told you they weren't going to fucking go to the town, Timmy. You're fired. But they like Mario jump it, like ring, 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 and they somehow get to the top of this mountain. And now, of course, they can look back. And they look out and they see Sodom and Gomorrah as smoldering ruins in the distance. Now, the town, I assume, had people in it, but whatever. They're in their little mountain hideaway when the daughters are having a sneaky little conversation. Now, I always ask this about biblical stuff to people. It's probably my favorite, like, your Bible is bullshit proof, right? There are multiple stories in just in this narrative alone, but throughout the Bible, where two people or three people, whatever, are having a private conversation. So, who is writing down what's being said? Who's writing down? Well, that says little cherub angels writing things down. Is that what it is? But this conversation, again, this is a conversation between his two very young teenage daughters, probably 12 and 14. They're in a mountain, in a cave in a mountain. So who the fuck heard them talking is your guess is as good as mine. But they come up with this this plan, and they say, you know, Father is just this really great man. And it's unfortunate that he only has us two daughters, because nobody will carry on his great name. Remember how earlier today he offered us to the rape mob to protect those two strange dudes that showed up and then caused all this bullshit? Father is fantastic. They're like, yeah, how are we going to do that? How are we going to ensure that this old, decrepit, disgusting old man has boy children to carry on his name? Here, hang on. Comments must be shut down. So they hatch the plan that they're going to get him super drunk. And the first night, the elder teenage daughter is going to, virgin teenage daughter, is going to rape her too drunk to remember it father so that she can get pregnant with a boy. Because obviously he makes boys if he has two daughters. And everybody knows that if you're so drunk you can't remember doing it, your dick's going to work just fine, especially if you're an old crippled man. But they apparently they are successful in their endeavor the first night, and the next day, older sister, the yesterday virgin sister who raped her father, now tells her sister, "I am pregnant with a." She knows she's pregnant the very next morning. And so it's like, okay, it's now it's your turn, younger sister. And they again do the same thing. Because if the man is too drunk to remember, it's okay. It doesn't matter if the girls know it's incest. It doesn't matter. They're not the men. As long as the man doesn't know, then it's okay. So they get him so drunk again that he can perform like a champion and get his youngest 12-year-old daughter pregnant. Which she knows the next day that they were successful. She is also pregnant with a boy. And those boys grow up. One grows up to be the leader of the Moabites, and the other one is something starts with an I, something other group of people. But those boys grow up to be great leaders, and that's why you should hate gays, because Sodom and Gomorrah says so. You guys think that's cool, right? You guys are okay with that? This story, that's what I was wondering. This story seems out of left field. What seems out of left field? The story of Sodom and Gomorrah? It's the dumb story that bigot Christians use to justify their bigotry on a regular basis. And it has nothing to do with homosexuality. The only homosexuality aspect of it is when God dinkle dinkle dinked everyone gay. So anybody that uses that shit to justify their hate, it shows you a lot. It shows you a lot. It shows you who the fuck they are and how stupid they are, that they don't even know their own shit. We're better than this, people. We're better than being goyim slaves like we are. We need to be the better thing, the better people than we are. We need to achieve. We need to be the best because we are the best and we only have this one shot. Doesn't matter if you know you believe in reincarnation or any of that shit. You won't know. So you better make the best of this life. And you should practice true selfishness. True selfishness is me saying, I wish myself, my wife, my family, my children, their children, and so on, to live the happiest, healthiest, safest lives they can possibly live. And the only way that happens is if every single one of you lives the happiest, healthiest, safest life you can live. We should be providing that for all of us. And the reason we don't is because of the Jays. They control it all. They keep us like this. So don't forget to get your free download, www.the-bilderberg.group.com. The link will be in the description. It's free. All you got to do is click download. It'll ask you how much you want to pay. You can pay $1,026.32 if you wanted to, or you can pay $0. You know, throw money in if you want to, by all means. But all we ever ask is that you just share it with someone else. So go get your free download, and I'll see you tomorrow. Everybody, have a great day. And you pedophiles, kill yourself.